welcome back to Motivational Wealth.
It's great to be back.
Yeah, it's always so interesting to me, like when we talk about building wealth, it can be easy to get lost in the practicalities and all the details of it. But there's a bigger picture here.
Right.
Like, when we look at the principles of building a strong foundation for wealth, it's like it kind of echoes the idea of receiving a truly priceless gift.
Absolutely.
Much like Jesus's gift of salvation,
Yeah.
And so today we're taking a deep dive into a YouTube transcript you shared about John D. Rockefeller's secrets to wealth building.
Right.
And we really want to pull out like the most insightful and actionable ideas from that.
Yeah, and I think what's really fascinating right away is how this video focuses on these really fundamental financial habits, and it highlights how Rockefeller, even from his early days, collecting potatoes and rabbits, he was meticulously tracking every cent in a ledger.
Wow.
And this awareness of his income and expenses.
Yeah.
It became this lifelong discipline. You can almost think of it as like an early version of a detailed budget.
Right.
And it gave him this incredibly clear picture of his financial standing.
Yeah.
And it's really that foundational discipline, that careful management, even of small amounts, that really played a crucial role in his later success.
Okay, so let's unpack this idea of tracking every cent, because it's so easy to think that to build huge wealth, you need these like really complex strategies.
Right.
But this almost like brings it back down to earth to something very basic and fundamental.
Absolutely, yeah.
And as this video presents it, like this habit gave Rockefeller this like unparalleled understanding of his cash flow.
Right.
He could see exactly where he was making money and where he was potentially losing money.
Yeah.
Which, especially in those less regulated markets of his time, that's like a huge advantage.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And I think it's such a good reminder for all of us that like knowing where your money's going is step one.
Yeah, absolutely.
To controlling it.
Yeah, and you brought up such a great point earlier about connecting this to, a greater gift, like salvation, right? Like, isn't there a parallel there in being mindful and appreciative of what we've been given? This deliberate tracking the stewardship, it reflects this fundamental respect for resources.
Yeah.
Whether they're, financial or spiritual.
That's a good point. Now, the transcript also delves into Rockefeller's strategic use of borrowing.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like reckless, debt accumulation. It was very calculated.
Right.
It was about investing and expanding his ventures.
Right.
And a really crucial point that it highlights is that he always honored his financial commitments.
Yeah.
Even when it involved his own father.
That's amazing. That's pretty amazing. Yeah, that's interesting because, there's this general aversion to debt that a lot of people have. But Rockefeller saw it as this tool for growth, but only
used properly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When approached with careful planning and a clear understanding of how it was going to generate returns.
Right.
And because he always repaid his debts, he built this incredible reputation.
Yeah.
Bankers trusted him implicitly, and that just opened up so many doors for him.
And that reputation for reliability really highlights like the role of integrity in building wealth, doesn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
And the transcript even mentions like the extraordinary level of trust that he commanded. It makes you think about like how important trust and reliability are in every aspect of life. Building strong relationships.
Yeah.
Building a solid reputation.
Absolutely. And if we think about this from like a broader perspective, think about the importance of integrity and faithfulness in a spiritual context.
Yeah.
Building trust through consistent actions, keeping our commitment, it has a value that goes way beyond, just the material world.
Absolutely. The transcript also really emphasizes Rockefeller's innovative mindset and his consistent reinvestment of profits. Like he wasn't satisfied with the status quo.
Yeah.
He wasn't afraid to invest in new technologies and more efficient methods, even if they seemed risky at the time.
He was a forward thinker.
Yeah.
It's really striking, his long-term vision.
Yeah.
He wasn't just, chasing immediate profits. He was investing in the future.
Yeah.
In infrastructure, in better processes, even if it required significant upfront capital.
Yeah.
And it's that willingness to reinvest earnings back into the business that really fueled his exponential growth.
It's that ability to look beyond just the present moment and invest in future potential.
Right.
That's so powerful.
Yeah.
It reinforces this idea that growth often requires a willingness to plant those seeds
Yeah.
for a future harvest,
Yeah.
whether it's in business or in personal development.
Absolutely.
Now, the video wraps up by noting that these fundamental money skills demonstrated by Rockefeller are timeless and accessible to everyone. And it suggests that while they might seem simple,
Yeah.
consistently applying these principles is the key
Yeah.
to achieving your financial goals.
Absolutely.
So thinking about Rockefeller's discipline in, tracking every cent from his early ventures, collecting potatoes and rabbits,
Oh, right.
his commitment to fulfilling his financial obligations even with his father,
Yeah.
and his calculated approach to risk and continuous reinvestment.
Right.
What key takeaway, resonates most with you?
What really stands out to me is the power of consistent foundational habits. Whether we're talking about managing our finances or cultivating personal growth.
Yeah.
Those small, disciplined actions applied consistently over time.
Yeah.
They create this powerful foundation for lasting wealth.
Yeah.
In all its forms.
And just as Rockefeller, understood the importance of carefully managing earthly resources, let's all take a moment to consider the profound value of the spiritual wealth that's been offered to us.
Absolutely.
So thank you for being a part of Motivational Wealth. We hope that this deep dive into Rockefeller's principles has given you some valuable insights to consider on your own journey towards a richer life in every sense of the word.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks for joining.